Some Christians today are confused when it comes to choosing leadership at all levels of government. We often focus on personal qualities like charisma or certain promises, but sometimes we forget the long term effects of the law and decisions these leaders will put in place. Many look at the story of Esther and remember her fasting and Mordecai's commitment to the people, but they forget the danger that arose because of the wicked decree Haman put on the Jews. As believers, it's important to seek the Lord when making decisions about leadership, allowing Him to guide us to righteous choices. Allow the Lord to speak to you as you hear this word, and hopefully it will encourage you to make the right decision when choosing leadership for the sake of your future and the future of those around you. In Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. In the book of Esther, we find a powerful example of how leadership can either lead to the deliverance of destruction of a people. The story of Mordecai and his plea to King Xerxes to save the Jews reveals the importance of having righteous leadership in place. In a moment of crisis, Mordecai had to approach the king because of a decree that was already set in motion, a law that the Persian bystanders could not be revoked once passed. This highlights a crucial truth. The decision of those in authority directly affects the people they lead. The unchangeable law of leadership in Esther 8:8 states, after Haman's plot was revealed, King Xerxes told Mordecai and Queen Esther, now write another decree in the king's name on behalf of the Jews, as seemed best to you, and seal it with the king's signet ring, for no document written in the king's name and sealed with his ring can be revoked. This shows how, in the kingdom of Persia, once the law was set, it could not be undone. The same holds true in many forms of governance today. Leaders pass laws that can have long lasting impacts on their citizens, even beyond their time of office. This is why it's important to carefully consider who we choose to lead us, whether on a local or national level. Righteous leadership brings about peace, while evil or careless leadership brings about destruction and sorrow. Mordecai understood the urgency of the situation and acted. Though the law could not be undone, he appealed to the king for a new law to counteract the destruction that had been decreed. Righteous leaders today have the same responsibility to act on behalf of the people, advocating for what is just, even in the face of unchangeable circumstances. In Esther 8:11, it shows the results. The king's edict granted the Jews in every city the right to assemble and protect themselves. Because of Mordecai's boldness and Esther's bravery, the Jews were empowered to defend themselves, and ultimately, they were delivered from annihilation. So you see, it's important for us to choose righteous leaders because in Proverbs 29:2, again, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. Mordecai, he was a righteous leader, advocating for the well-being of his people. And because of his action, the people were saved. But on the contrary, Haman, he was wicked and had wicked intentions, nearly brought down the destruction of an entire nation. So the quality of leadership, it matters. And when we see that clearly in this story, whether it's on a city, state, or national level, who we put in power can either cause rejoicing or groaning among the people. It's not just about charisma or promise. It's about whether a leader is aligned with godly principles or justice, mercy, and righteousness. So, as believers, we have a responsibility to pray and support righteous leaders. But we also have a responsibility to choose wisely when we are given the opportunity. Like Mordecai, we must stand up for what is right, even when it seems like the laws are set against us. And like Esther, we must act boldly, trusting that God can work through the authority structures to bring about his purpose. Let us be diligent in choosing and supporting leaders who reflect the righteousness of God. Because again, as Proverbs 29:2 states, it reminds us that when the righteous prevail, the people are glad. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. Let's strive for leadership that brings rejoicing and not groaning. Amen. Mm. Amen.